So we start off today's ride here at LA Union Station. I would assume Waymo would have the pickups down pretty well here, considering many people come to the city by rail and want to get places. However, the first ride I tried to hail here actually ended up cancelling on me, as it seemed to struggle finding a spot to pull over. Well, nonetheless, here we are, cruising at a solid 5 miles per hour, which is actually the posted speed limit here in Union Station, which everyone else does seem to ignore. We do have a kind of weird lane change here, right in front of the stop sign. I'm not a huge fan of a lane change in this spot, as we're kind of blocking the other lane now, but it did it pretty safely and used signals appropriately, and also there's no one behind us, so I'll let it slide. I've set our first destination over in Little Tokyo, which should hopefully give it a few challenging interactions to deal with. Up next we have this unprotected left turn, which is unfortunately a common occurrence here in LA. The Waymo driver does a great job here by slowly pulling forward into the intersection, ready to take its turn. It also does a really awesome job of being super patient with the pedestrians that are crossing just off camera to our left. The second this gap opens up, it asserts itself, not fazed at all by the car waiting to take a right turn. And here we are, after the usual LA traffic, approaching our first destination. This street is super narrow with parked cars on either side and tons of pedestrians to consider. This is where we really see the advantage of the LiDAR located around the vehicle. With such accurate and precise measurement of the world around us, the car is able to dodge cones and fit through tight spaces with ease, even in situations like this one. At this point, the car is trying to find a good spot to pull over. As you can see on our right, we have tons of fences, food trucks, people crossing, and a few cones for good measure. The car now identifies a spot it can pull over and narrowly squeezes right in this gap between the truck and the crosswalk, which is actually right outside the destination pin I set in the app.
Something is approaching. Please make sure it's clear before exiting.
And as you just heard, it warns us of approaching vehicles and people for safety if we were to exit here. However, we're not quite done yet, so let's continue on our way to Exposition Park, which does turn out to be quite the disaster, as you'll see later on in the video. Next up, we have another interesting situation with this blue and white van that's parked in the road with its four-way hazards turned on. The driver walks across the road in traffic to jump back inside. The Waymo driver slows for safety and uses its signal to tell everyone else what's going on. As soon as the driver gets inside and closes the door, the Waymo is satisfied that it's safe to proceed, and does so with confidence. This is yet another great example of just how much the Waymo driver is able to interpret of the world around it. Coming up here, we can see the car wants to take a right turn, but there's someone who steps out into the road whose intentions aren't really clear at this point. The car initially slows, and then stops once it thinks they might step in front of us, then makes a wider turn to account for it. This level of safety around pedestrians is super important, and I think it handled it mostly well. The only thing I would prefer it would have done is to slow a little more as soon as it was clear that this person was going to step into the road, as they were walking out towards the road for a few seconds before we got closer to them. Overall though, a solid and safe series of events. By the way, I'm working on getting a good camera setup to film the visualization screen in the back so you guys can see better what the car is seeing. I now have everything I need, so you should see this very soon. If you're enjoying the video, please be sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss future ones just like this. And here is just another quick example of Waymo handling pedestrian safety like a pro. This guy crosses in front of us, and the car just slows a little bit for them and then continues on its way. We even get a little way from them, thanking the Waymo for being so patient. Another interesting moment is here, where this cyclist is coming at us the wrong way down a one-way street. The second the Waymo driver sees them, it turns on its signal and immediately moves out of the way of their antics. There is also another approaching from the right of this truck, but the car doesn't seem too bothered in this situation since there's more than enough room. Knowing when to stay put to stay predictable to other road users is an important skill, which I think Waymo demonstrates excellently here. At this point, I just wanted to point out a cool update to the Waymo visualization you see on the rear screen. The display now shows all turn signals and even four-way hazard lights. That's pretty cool. And finally, coming up now, is the part you've probably all been waiting for. We're now entering Exposition Park, which is where I've set my destination, specifically the Science Center. Just for some context, this is a zone that is marked on the map for drop-off, so it should be fine. Right here, Waymo seems to have some trouble with this cone, or maybe it's the person standing there, or it could even be trying to decide where to go, who knows. But this is just the start of the confusion here. After a good 20 seconds, the car asks for help, and it proceeds with the assistance of remote support, deciding to proceed to the left. And here is where it all went wrong. Waymo has now managed to get itself into the line for paid parking. I'm not sure if this is normally here or for some kind of special event, but we're well and truly stuck in line for something that the car probably can't handle on its own. Let's see what it does when it approaches the parking attendant. Completely and utterly ignored. We've just sped right through without paying. The car's first order of business, now it's embarked on its new life of crime, is to get stuck deciding which way it should go around these cones. Once again, it calls for backup from support, who instructs it to proceed to the right, in the direction that the cone is indicating is the exit. This is probably the best move, as the car really just needs to get itself out of the situation at this point. And as everything was going so well, the car emergency brakes for an object ahead that doesn't seem to exist. I'm thinking it got a little confused by the cones around it, or there could have been something there I didn't see. Either way, I think it's pretty unlikely there was something there. At this point, let's continue ahead and see if we can reach our destination at this point. We stop and give way to these pedestrians wanting to cross, which is always the correct thing to do, and then continue forwards. The car now decides to come to a second stop to decide where it wants to proceed. It now asks for help again and displays a message on screen, turning hazard lights on. At this point, support seems to have decided to give up and pull the car over.
Roadside assistance is 12 minutes away. Keep your
Roadside is
seatbelt
then
fastened and
dispatched
remain in
to
the
come
car
and
unless
take
there's
care
an
of the
urgent need to
situation.
exit.
We're stuck here, with barely enough room for other cars to squeeze around us. This is the point where support calls into the car to try and figure out what's going on. Let's take a listen at what they have to say.
Connected to rider support. This call may be recorded for quality assurance.
Hello, this is the on with Waymo support, and I got a notification that your ride may have temporarily paused. So let me go ahead and see what's going on, okay?
Great, thank you. The road's completely clear in front of us, so it's pretty much free to go.
Right, thank you. And well, the car may start moving on its own soon, and but just in case if we needed to, we'll be sending a roadside assistance team, okay?
Okay, great. My destination is like right in front of me.
Oh, so this is on the third stop, is that right?
Yes.
Oh, did you just left the... Let me just check here. The car just left the Exposition Park Drive. Are you heading to your final drop-off?
No, I'm heading to my third one, the Exposition Park one.
Oh, the third one, I see. Oh, so the car then happened to turn left instead of right to this street.
So it went into a paid parking area. And it just sped straight through the payment part and then turned right. So it could continue if it wanted to, but I guess it doesn't want to.
Thank you, I appreciate that information. And but just in case we needed to, you can also see that roadside assistance team will be arriving in 11 minutes.
Okay.
You can also see that in your passenger screen or on your app, but we'll make sure to get the car moving as well.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you. And a member of our fleet response team is currently working to get you back on your way to get the car moving.
Great.
Hello,
Hi.
Sky. Yes, let me just confirm that the drop-off for the third stop is at 700 Exposition Park Drive.
Yes. I want to go to the science
Is
center.
that?
It's literally right in front of me.
I see. Let me just check. It's just right where the car is currently at right now.
Yeah, it's like 10 meters ahead. The conversation continues with not much update. The lovely person from support continues to update me on the status of roadside assistance and lets me know that Fleet's response continue to work on getting the car moving again.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Um, I would like to ask and confirm if you're comfortable to walk to the remainder of the way.
Yeah, that's totally fine. I haven't got a problem with that.
Um,
Am I called to get out or?
yeah.
At this stage, I just want to remove myself from this situation. Many cars are having to go around us, one even knocking over the cone to be able to squeeze by.
So, okay, here's the thing. What we will do is, yeah, to walk the remainder of the way, but you don't have to worry about the charge because I'll go ahead and have this charge refunded.
Great, thank you.
And yeah, so I'll just go ahead and cancel the trip.
Okay.
You may need, because you can see that you have one more. Yeah, you have
I can just hail again
one more
once I'm
drop
finished.
off.
It's all good.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm clear to get out. Is that all cool?
Yes, just make sure to make sure your surroundings clear before you exit, okay?
Sounds good, thank you. Now I'm out of the car, let's take a look at the situation and see if roadside turns up. So, as you can see, support has asked me to leave the car. It's kind of blocking everyone here. Someone's knocked the cone down to be able to get around the car there. Roadside support should be on the way. Although the police do appear to be here now, so that could be interesting. No, they don't seem to care. So yeah, it looks like I'm going to wait for roadside to rock up just from the distance over here. Because support have told me to get out the car, they've cancelled the ride. And yeah, Waymo has well and truly stuck itself in here. And wait for it. Okay, it just pulled away on its own and now it's off. So much for that. Still with the hazards on though. Question is, I don't think it's heading to my drop-off spot. I think it's literally just leaving. Yep, it's off. Still with the hazards on though. Alright, time to hail again. And for that ride, you'll have to wait for the next video. Overall, I give Waymo a solid C for this overall ride. The driving before this incident was extremely solid, being safe and assertive the whole way here. I would give support a solid A. They were kind, courteous, and kept me updated. This wasn't their fault whatsoever, and the overall experience was reasonably positive. Although, the points taken off definitely come from it getting stuck in this situation, in my opinion, this shouldn't be on the drop-off map, or a different route should have been taken. Even if this was a special event, Waymo should have realised where it had ended up and immediately made a U-turn before it even reached the parking attendant. If you enjoyed this video and like autonomous vehicles, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you don't miss any future Waymo or Tesla FSD related videos. With all that said, this is Autonomy Central, signing off.